For my student teaching experience, I was at Hayfield Elementary School in Northern Virginia. My whole semester was a virtual experience, even though at one point I thought I was going to be able to go into the classroom, but that quickly changed. My cooperating teacher was Donna McMullen. She has been at Hayfield for 25 years working in the K through second grade classes. This year she was teaching first grade, and that is where my placement was. Not only was this the first grade classroom in a virtual world, it was also an inclusion class. When I first found out that I was in an inclusion class, I was a little worried, but it turned out to be a wonderful experience. In my capstone project, I focused on what I learned from the actions and activities through the semester. There were some very interesting and beneficial aspects of this semester. I started virtually in my first grade classroom in September. It was a very interesting experience. In Fairfax County, we use a virtual platform called Blackboard Collaborate. This was very new to me, and I've never used it before. It seemed like a lot of the children have never used it before either. For the first month, our main focus was building a classroom community and getting familiar with the environment. Every morning, we started with morning meeting, where the students got to learn each other's names and we got to learn a little bit about them. In the very beginning, there had to be a lot of patience and understanding. The students struggled, but as the days went on, they got better and better. Closing towards the end of the month, I noticed that the students were able to self-correct on the greeting. If they got the wrong name or did the wrong greeting, they were able to fix it right away. As long as we worked on it, they understood it really well. As well, every day I did calendar. This allowed the students to get familiar with the schedule, and it was a very good way to get the students to share. But doing this every day, you saw the same names raising their hands to volunteer. I quickly learned that I needed to draw names using popsicle sticks. That way everyone got a chance. One thing I noticed with calendar was that they struggled with counting together. If they were counting together by fives or 10, I would have everyone turn on their mics and we would all start at the same time. But they didn't understand the aspect of turning on your mic and then waiting to start. September was about learning and familiarizing themselves with our everyday activities, and they did a really great job about that, and it has continued throughout the semester. As we moved into October, things got more and more involved. I started teaching lessons and moving faster. It was a little rough in the beginning, but it got better. With that, I was even able to start going into breakout rooms. I was able to put these students into these breakout rooms in separate rooms and check on them. Certain students, like our troublemakers, I couldn't put together in the same breakout room because they wouldn't do anything. But I did find students that were able to work really well together. They would talk and collaborate in these breakout groups. They loved them so much, it was even to the point where one of my students would raise his hand in any activity and say, "Mr. Otis, can we go into breakout rooms?" The eagerness of wanting to go into breakout rooms had a positive effect on me. It told me that what was happening in these groups was helping them and beneficial to them, especially in math. This semester involved a lot of trying new things, and one of those things was giving an assessment over the computer. I was able to use a Google Doc polls to give the assessments to the students about fiction. It worked very well, and the students did not seem to have any trouble. The only thing that I did have issues with was making sure the students were signed into Google Apps and making sure they clicked the link. Those students who were not logged into Google Apps were unable to do this assessment. Easily being able to see the students' data was a big draw. Then I finally learned about how to read to students virtually. I learned a few options. These options included watching a video on the book, using a virtual book that I could read or have it read to them, or using a dot cam to read. There are some negative and positive aspects of all of them. And there is attached a video of how we read one of our books. This semester was by trial and error, and that was evident in language arts. When sharing our screens to help provide the books, it was challenging because I was not able to see the students, but I was able to provide them the materials. In November, we discovered an application called Pear Deck. This application was amazing, and the students loved it. It allowed them to share their thoughts and ideas. As well, I was able to see their writing. I learned a lot about the students' writing stages through this application. As well, just to add a little fun, the students were able to draw on it, so I got to see their creative side too. In these pictures, these are three different students that showed me their thoughts on different questions. I was able to see and understand what they were thinking. This application I would definitely use in my future classroom. It is very beneficial and the students respond very well to it. It is one of my favorite um, applications or devices that we use throughout the semester. Throughout the semester, it was full of great experiences. A few of them were surprising. Two that really stood out to me was that Fairfax County provides all their lessons and pacing guides to their teachers. It is laid out for us and we don't have to worry about creating a whole lesson plan. We still meet Tuesday through Friday as a team to discuss and figure out what will work in the virtual world, but having the whole lesson in front of you reduces a lot of stress. The image attached is an example of what our lesson plan document looked like. After surprising Another surprising thing that I would love to bring into my classroom in the future is directed drawings. The students love them. Attach is a picture of one I did with them. It was an owl. I would read them a piece by piece, and the students would have to guess what we were drawing. Then, once everyone was finished, the students shared the drawings. It was great to see all their different creative ideas when guessing and their creativeness when we were drawing the pictures. It was a break for them throughout the day, and it worked very nicely. Finally, as we all know, with student teaching, there are going to be some expected experiences. One experience that I had was I was able to get myself more familiar with GoNoodle. Everyone uses it nowadays, but in my previous placements, I had never really used it as much as I did here. I made plans every day to use a GoNoodle for breakout times, especially in this virtual world. It was the easiest thing to do, and they loved doing it every day. One of my little boys at the same time every day would turn on his mic and be like, "It's time for a GoNoodle. I can share GoNoodle." It was the little things that they loved, and it didn't seem to faze them whatsoever. Another experience I had, which I guess isn't specific to all student teachings, but definitely to this semester, was technology issues. The amount of technology issues was crazy. I had to figure out there were going to be some, but not the amount that we had. From cameras not being able to work to sound randomly cutting out, the motto was take it day by day. And the students understood that too, because they were also having the same technology issues. Overall, though, I believe I learned a lot from this semester, not only from my CT, but from my students as well. I was able to try all kinds of new things, and of course, some of them didn't work, but some did. And I can take those and bring those into my classroom. And now I know which ones will work and which ones might not. But each class is going to be different, so I always have to try. I was, to say the least, it was an interesting experience, but I'm glad it happened the way it did. It was really great to see how a first grade team works well and be a part of that.